You're listening to ADHD Support Talk. ADHD Support Talk is brought to you by addclasses.com. Visit www.addclasses.com and sign up for helpful events and resources today. I want to welcome you back to ADHD Support Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Lynne Edris, and I am a productivity coach. So I help overwhelmed professionals reduce procrastination, improve their time management, and get more done with less effort so that they have more time and energy for what matters most to them. As you guys know, I'm a woman with ADHD myself, so I have been there, I have done that, and I have come out the other side, so to speak. So I know that you can share the same success yourselves. You can also go from the constant state of chaos and overwhelm and underperformance that you may be living in yourself right now to a life of more success and fulfillment. And that's what we want for you. So you can learn more about me and what I do and the programs and services I offer at www.coachingadvantages.com. Today, Tara McGillicuddy is back with me, and we want to talk about something that happens to all of us. We want to talk about bad days and how to reboot. So welcome, Tara.
I'm glad to be back. As Lynn said, I'm Tara McGillicuddy. I am the creator, founder of ADHD Support Talk Radio. I'm also a woman with ADHD, and I help people shift their energy to be more productive and happier. You can learn more about me and the services I offer by going to my website, taramcgillicuddy.com.
So when we were chatting before we came on, we were talking about bad days, right? We all have them. I had a client one time who said some days aren't worth a pill, meaning some days ADHD is going to win whether you've taken your medication or not, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about those bad days, what causes them, what we could do about them, how we can shift out of them, turn them around. Where would you like to jump in, Tara?
I just think, thinking about bad days, like you said, we all have them. And, you and I still have them from time to time, or sometimes more than time to time. And the big thing is not to let that bad day be a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, a bad life. I think that's like the important thing, is to know that you can shift out of that bad day, you can reboot. And I think that's the important thing to really focus on, knowing that it doesn't have to remain that way forever.
Absolutely. So really it's what you do with it, right? What you do with your thinking around them that really matters. So learning to recognize a bad day for what it is so that it doesn't turn into a bad week, a bad month, and beyond, or really start to suck you into kind of a negative spiral where you're paying attention more to the bad days than the good days and the good things, because that really can end up in a sort of a negative cycle for a lot of us. Absolutely. So when you're thinking about a bad day, right, the first thing I try to do is look for what my signs are. Is it a mood thing? Mm-hmm. Is it circumstances? Is there something, I always call it, I'll do what I call a situational autopsy. Just ask myself, what's up? What's going on here? Is it me? Am I being a BI today? Mm-hmm. If I am, why? Right? Yeah. What's going on with me? Where's this coming from? If it's the circumstances, sometimes life feels unfair, or life is more difficult sometimes than others. Life is often difficult for us and our clients, right? So what is it about today that is a little more difficult? And, is there anything I could do about it? But making sure that you focus your thinking around not problems, not wallowing in the problem, but problem solving and kind of mindset shifting, I think is what's so important.
Yeah. And it's important to to understand what's causing it, because if you're having a bad day because lack of sleep, that's going to be a lot different than a family member dying type of thing,
Right.
And sometimes it's not, the ADHD can make it worse, can affect it, but it's not always due to your ADHD type brain. It could be something outside of you that caused it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if something is going on with you that is making whatever life has dealt you worse, or making the day harder for you, or if it's one of those days where you just feel like ADHD is winning and you can't seem to get on top of your game, to save the day, then really thinking about like what's going on here.
Yeah.
And I always start with like the basics, right? From the sort of self-care in terms of sleep and nutrition and movement, but also self-care in terms of like taking breaks and doing things that I enjoy. Those are all part of kind of what I call like feeding my soul. So is there anything missing self-care wise? Is there anything out of the ordinary self-care wise? Because those are things that I can do something about going forward, right?
And sometimes it is that energetic type shift, making a micro change, a little change. Sometimes it's a huge change, but a lot of times it's doing something. And you talk about feeding your soul. And I think a lot of times when we have ADHD and we have our bad days, we get into that almost like automatic beating ourselves up more.
Yes.
And, oh no, you can't go out and have fun. You can't go out and play because you messed up, you screwed up or whatever.
Right.
Where often it's, you need to feed your soul. You need to have fun. You need that self-care, that, connecting with other people, whatever it is. And a lot of times we with ADHD do not allow ourselves to go there. So the bad day can turn into a bad week, a bad month, when we just can make a micro shift to change. It may not improve like drastically right away, but just that shift, doing something different can get you out of that bad day.
Absolutely. So really looking for, for starters, like I always say, just no matter what, be nice.
Yes.
Right. No matter what, think about how you're talking to yourself, think about how you're thinking about yourself, and whether or not you would help someone else have a better day by talking to them that same way, or by thinking, saying things to them along those same lines. And that is so true, Tara. Like so many times, what we really need is a little downtime, or what we really need is a break, or what we really need is something that we can enjoy to kind of help us shift and pay attention to the good things in our lives. But we tell ourselves we don't deserve it because, it's that sort of, I haven't been a good boy or I haven't been a good girl, so I don't deserve to do X, Y, and Z. That whole like work first, play later mentality. And that isn't necessarily very helpful for us.
Yeah,
right? We need those breaks.
Yeah, we've been programmed to believe that. And that's a limiting belief, a limiting mindset.
Absolutely.
And like sometimes we can prevent the bad day. We can have bad moments or bad hours or whatever. And when we start practicing that and shifting, we have better days, better moments, better times.
Yes.
So it doesn't even have to be a full bad day. It can be a bad moment. But I think that's one of the big, it's that shift.
Absolutely. Making that choice to shift, I think is what a lot of it is. So it's a choice to shift, do things differently, a choice not to beat yourself up, a choice to be nice to you, and then make a change. I mean, I used to do goofy stuff with, I was thinking about my son when he was little, my son with ADHD, who's now a grown man. But when he was little, sometimes, we'd have a rough morning, whether I was less patient than normal or he was more whatever than normal. And, and the yelling would start, or the tensions would start to grow, and we'd do a reboot. So he'd go back upstairs, and if it was really bad, I'd say, crawl back under your covers. And I'd come up and say good morning, and we'd pretend we were starting the whole thing again, usually like really fast because we were probably late, but that allowing yourself to reboot. And if you can do it a little bit in humor, but also with kindness, that can, giving yourself that opportunity to like restart can go a long way, especially if it's done with kindness and kind of care for yourself.
And so sometimes it is as simple as taking a few deep breaths and maybe shifting to like an energy of gratitude or something like that. It doesn't always have to be like this major overhaul to reboot. Sometimes it doesn't. It is as simple as breathing, smiling, talking to someone who's nice to you if you're beating yourself up.
Absolutely. Look, knowing who the kind sort of souls are in your life that are going to support you and are going to be kind to you when you're having a rough day. That's also helpful, right? But you've got to do it to you and for you as well. So, what can you do to you and for you that would be kind, that would feel good, that would shift you to paying less attention to what's not going well and more attention to what you do have to be grateful for? Because I think a lot of times the shift toward, gratitude, so to speak, is, it's a big part of helping to shift that energy.
Yes. Yes.
Kindness, gratitude. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it can be challenging to start practicing that and doing that on a regular basis. So if, what we're saying sounds great, but you're having trouble doing it, that might be the time to reach out to a professional, whether it's a coach, a mental health professional, I don't know, somebody else maybe. But if you're having that bad day again and again, if your bad day turns into bad week, bad month, bad year, whatever, then definitely seek help from some type of professional.
Absolutely. Right. When it's starting to impact your life and your quality of life on a regular basis, it's, stop struggling alone, because you don't have to. Looking for those little things that you can do that would be nice to you or nice for you. So I often just ask, like, okay, today's been crap, or that sucked, or sorry for the expression, or that was rotten. That was, that was whatever. So now what can I do? So sorry guys, I'm going to use the expression I actually use. So I apologize in advance, but I often say, okay, shit happens. Now what?
Yeah.
Meaning something bad happened. Now what can I do that's positive? What can I do that's positive? How can I turn this around? How can I salvage whatever it is that I can salvage, even if it is just salvaging the rest of the day?
And that might be something to be proactive about too. What are the things you enjoy? What are the things that, are you're passionate about, that ignite your soul, whatever the terms you want to use. So when you're in that negative mindset, that overwhelm, that stress, or whatever it is, because sometimes we get so into those types of thought patterns, it's really hard to get out of them. If you know already, whether it's a journal or you just have it in your head, but you can go, okay, this is how I get out of it. This is something that makes me happy. This is something that's positive. So I think being proactive about it can be helpful. So when you're in that, stressful situation, you have something to go to.
Absolutely. You could make a bad day reboot list. What are the things that make you feel better when you're having a rough day? Do you like to dig in the dirt and work in a garden? Do you like to go for a walk in nature? Do you like to just get some fresh air? Do you like to exercise? Do you like to phone a friend? Or, what is it that you can do? Something creative, some other kind of outlet. Do you like to sing? Do you like to dance? Do you like to paint? Do you like to, I don't know, go volunteer somewhere? I mean, thinking about the things proactively that you could do to help you shift, to turn a bad day into a not so bad day and a better tomorrow, absolutely could be helpful. I like that. A bad day menu.
Yeah. Well, I have what I call a go-to gratitude list. With gratitude, we had things years ago where everyone, 101 things you're grateful for, the gratitude journals. And those really weren't working for people, because not everyone can think of 100 things they're grateful for.
Yeah.
So I think if you have 1 to 5 things that you are grateful for, that, when you're in that mindset, you have that go-to gratitude list or item that you think about, and then tap into that energy. But I think it's a similar thing with the play, the fun, or whatever, that when you're stuck, when you're then sometimes paralysis, I'm like, oh, this is what I like to do. And, depending if you're visual, if you're, draw pictures, maybe you write it down, but you have it somewhere where you can return to it.
Absolutely. You can pull from it so that it can pull you up and out of that bad day. I love it. There are 1,000,001 things you can do to reboot. And we would love to hear what you do or what you have done and what you have tried. So please let us know. You can always comment if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're joining us in the ADHD Support Talk Facebook community. We'd love to hear what you do to reboot. And if you need help coming up with ideas, let us know as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything you'd like to add? And then Tara, give out again how people can learn more about you and what you do.
I think just maybe reiterating that we have the power and the ability to shift out of the bad times. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's it. That's the main thing I want to, remind people. And you can learn more about me and what services I offer by going to my website, taramcgillicuddy.com.
Awesome. Well, I hope if you're having a bad day, we've given you some ideas to have better days to come. As always, we appreciate your attention and we appreciate having you here with us on ADHD Support Talk. Again, I'm Lynne Edris, and I want to thank you for your attention. Take care.